You're listening to a WAS community radio show with me, Esther, your presenter. Sorry everyone, but it is the winter and I've already started with the cold, so my advice to you is to wrap up warm. We have on today a guest called Lewis who's going to talk to us about Dungeons and Dragons. Thank you, Lewis, for coming on the show today to talk to my guests. My first question is, please can you explain to my listeners what Dungeons and Dragons is all about?
So Dungeons and Dragons is a tabletop role-playing game. It's a group cooperative game about creating a narrative experience and having fun at the end of the day. It's really good for getting a group of friends together, and you can just sit for between like 3 and 6 hours and just create like a world and adventures and just have some really good fun. So we can play it online or offline, but it's the best thing that I've found is just being sat with some friends with some food and drinks and just playing for hours and hours.
So I take it's very healthy for your emotional well-being and for your mental health to have a good time, you know, and to play a good game, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I mean, it's so important, and it really helps with creating those interpersonal connections. I mean, the people that I play with now, we're such close friends, and before we were close, but we weren't super close. But now, I mean, for Halloween, we went to a Halloween party, all dressed as our D&D characters, and all the stories that we have of our adventures, they're just amazing, and they connect us so heavily. Being able to sit and talk and have a safe, healthy environment to role play in can really help people as well who have got social issues, who don't have those skills necessary, and they really help build up those communication skills.
You mentioned there's characters. How many are there? So
you can create your own character. So each of the players has their own player character, and they sculpt those, and generally throughout a campaign, and a campaign is up to a few years in length, you will have that one player character that you will use the whole time. And so you become that character when you play. There are different races, there are different classes, so you can play everything from a human wizard all the way through to a dragon-born warrior or fighter and a paladin. There are so many different choices. Now, for the players, they have their one character. As the dungeon master, I control the rest of the world. So I control thousands of different characters, all the way through from bartenders and restaurant workers through to kings and gods. Every different character will have different voice, different mannerisms, different thoughts in their brain, and I have to run each of them.
And also, is there any like dices in the games? Do you play with dices and stuff like that?
Yeah, so generally we play with a set of 7 dice, or 7 different dice. You can have multiple of each. Normally, before I started playing, I was only used to like the standard cube die, which is a D6. But we use a range, so a D4, which is a little pyramid, a D6, D8, D10, 12, and a 20. So there's quite a wide range, but each of them does different things. It sounds quite complicated. It really isn't when you get playing, but it's just that there's a little bit of a learning curve.
Is there a time restriction on the game?
No, so you can play for as little as an hour during your lunch break, all the way through. I've done 10-hour sessions. The only real restriction is how long you have to play and how long you can last. Like, dungeon mastering is quite a taxing process, and I must admit at the end of that 10 hours of playing, I was destroyed. I was so tired. But no, there's no time limit on it at all. It's just your imagination.
Is there any age restriction on playing the game of Dungeons and Dragons?
Not really. So generally it's recommended from 5 years old up. At that age, generally you will have like a simplified rule set. You'll have a little bit less of the fighting and all that kind of stuff, so it's a little bit more age appropriate. But you can go all the way through to 80, 90, however old people are. I've got friends who play with their grandparents, play with their parents, and they really seem to enjoy it. It really livens up their life.
You mentioned before that, you know, if you want to be a dungeon dragon master, what does this involve?
So if you go through the starter set, which is available in many places, it's not too bad. It's got you can buy pre-created worlds, pre-created adventures, and you can make it so it's quite easy for you. For me personally, though, I homemade all of my world, all of the adventures, all of the characters. Everything is made by me, so that takes quite a bit of time sink. As well, you've got things like organising people. Just getting 6 like young professionals in a room together once a week for like 3 to 4 hours is quite difficult. Often we have to skip a week just because of getting people to attend. It's just a lot of care and attention as well. So each adventure or each session is handcrafted to the players themselves to make sure that they have the most fun. And so it's quite a bit of time.
And if I wanted to acquire the game, if I wanted to acquire the board game, how can I purchase this?
So the starter set is available on Amazon, or most tabletop game stores, comic book stores will have a copy of it. I think you can also get it from most bookshops, and they will do the starter set, and that's I think about £25. So it's not a big money sink, but it's quite a nice, good set of the basic rules, a nice adventure. It's how I got started 3 or 4 years ago. You can also just straight up buy the Player's Handbook, the Dungeon Master's Guide, or the Monster Manual. Those are available on Amazon. Most bookstores will also have them. Game shops will have them. Or you can just go online. It's completely free. You can download the basic rules from Wizards of the Coast, and you can use online dice rollers, so there's no money involved at all, and you can just play it for free.
And if one wanted to hire you as a Dungeon Dragon Master, how can they get involved and in touch with you?
So I'm available on Facebook at Roll for Initiative MCR. It's the name of my the company that I do professional dungeon mastering for, is Roll for Initiative Manchester. You can also give me a ring on 07791 279 622, or email me at lewis.stocks@googlemail.com. That's LEWYS.STOCKS@googlemail.com.
Thanks so much, Lewis. That was so interesting to hear about Dungeons and Dragons. Have a good day.
Thank you for having me on, Esther. You have a good day.